All right, so staying in the NFL, well, they back in the news again, folks. The old Washington Commanders, and we ain't talking about they in the news because their name changed. They in the news for some more of that good old misconduct that they known for. Some of that traditional misconduct by Dan Snyder and crew. Here it is, folks. I'm gonna hit the wave tops. It seems like now in the article broached by ESPN that the Commanders are in the news for, how can I put this? For language terms, it sounds like extortion. No, but it's not extortion. It's like, no, not extortion. I mean, they are lying and taking people money. So basically, what's going on here is basically fans, organizations, sponsors, whatever, they're paying money for certain things and they're not getting those certain things back. Season ticket holders might be passing their tickets on to their loved ones, and them loved ones have no freaking idea that they even got season tickets. It's something here about two accounting books, one for the NFL, the other one for the private reserve. And it's just a whole lot of tomfoolery going on. But I'm gonna tell you like this: I'm not surprised because Dan Snyder just seems he can't do no wrong. Jay, can you help me understand why in the hell is Dan Snyder still getting away with being the slime ball of the year, or shall I say, the owner of the year, within the NFL? Like, what's going on? Do he got the skeletons or what?
Well, I think if I had to guess, I think that's your theory on this, and maybe there's something to that. I don't know, and I'm not gonna go there. But my my method of choice is to just sit here and absolute. I can't even. I have to laugh because it's so ridiculous at this point. I just sit here. I'm like just bewildered that like we didn't even have this plan today, and like I sit down like a couple hours ago and I'm like just browsing the headlines, and it says oh Commanders financial law breaking or something like. Let's see, that might be something. Let's see what's going on here. And like, oh my gosh. So now we got sexual harassment and all that. We got the name circus. Then we have you're just terrible as a football team. And then you have no pun intended, by the way. And then you have this nonsense. Like now we're over here stealing money from the paying customer, and I don't know what the crime is, but like I just put a word on it. Let's try fraud. How about fraud? There's some fraud. There's some fraudulent stuff going on apparently. Now, in fairness, Washington came out and denied all this, and they say, I think this was on March 31st, but they say the team categorically denies any suggestion of financial impropriety of any kind at any time. We adhere to strict internal processes that are consistent with industry and accounting standards. And they're audited annually by a globally independent auditing firm and also subject to regular audits by the NFL. We continue to cooperate with committee's work. Whatever. The Washington Commanders football team, or whatever they call themselves this week, they are not deserving of the benefit of the doubt. That's just what it is. You know, you like to say from time to time, where there's smoke, there's fire. This would this type of nonsense would have Smokey the Bear running for cover because it's just outrageous. I mean, every single when is the last time we've looked at them and said, "Oh yeah, I like that. That was good." Besides hiring Ron Rivera, they did that right. That's all they've gotten right lately. You're muted.
Maybe the trade for Carson Wentz, maybe.
Oh, could be. I mean,
I know it's a reach,
but
but that's all I got.
yeah, I mean that could be something. That could be something. But man, it does like make you wonder how can Daniel Snyder still be allowed to own a football team? Because here's the problem. This is my thing. If Daniel Snyder was an employee, he would be gone, and he'd be gone a long time ago. But because he's the owner, we don't have nobody out here holding him accountable. Can I get all the other owners to come forth and say, hey man, this guy's like compromising us, because like he making all of us look like fools. We know that the public in general, like we talked about this with like the minority hiring thing that they're doing, nobody cares about the owners. Like, oh yeah, they threw us a bone out here. Yeah, thanks. We're really breaking the glass ceilings now. No, so but like, for real, man, like we ain't this bad. This guy like, one bad apple ruins everything. This guy out here just killing everybody else, except Stephen Ross, I guess. He over here digging his own grave too. But it's astounding that you can be this bad, and not only like, it's one thing to have a bad football team and just, for whatever reason, you just can't build a winning product. But like in every other sort of world in the world, from like human relations and now the business side of things, like, these guys are one of the last teams that should be like cheating the customer, because their product ain't worth watching. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not. So, if I'm really grateful. I grew up about 3 hours from DC, and I tell you, I am glad I'm not a fan of this team, because I would be absolutely livid. And I don't know, man. Maybe it's one of these things to where we need to just stop with like complaining about Goodell and the other owners and say, hey man, it's time for the paying customer to do something. I really believe this. Like, if you're a fan of this team, you're gonna have to stay home. You have to stop like patronizing this product. The Washington Commander fans, they should go on an immediate strike until Daniel Snyder is out of here. I'm gonna tell you, if you have a couple weeks to where people just don't come to these games, that'll get this thing moving. And he'll come out here and he'll like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm ready to sell. That's what the fans should do. They shouldn't come to games. They shouldn't buy merchandise. They shouldn't buy tickets. They shouldn't do anything until this guy is gone. I know, look, that's a tough thing to do, especially if you got passion for a team. I get it. But like this team been a better part of the past 23 years, they've been a joke. And it ain't getting no better. And we talk about it. We like Ron Rivera. I think he's a guy that can get this thing moving. Hey, he won him a division title last year, even though it was the NFC least of the East, with a 7-9 record or whatever it was. But like in the grand scheme of things, and I tell you, it's got to be hard to overcome just the foolishness that is happening, above you in the organization. I gotta believe Ron Rivera. If I'm Ron Rivera and he's looking at himself, man, I'm glad I got I'm the coach. I can pick my personnel and all this, but like, this is a circus. It's hard to do something around here. I know I'm gonna go out there and have to deal with the media at some point. And be like, hey, what do you think about Daniel Snyder defrauding customers? Like, oh my, what? Huh? I don't feel like y'all want to talk about football? No. So, that's the conclusion I've kind of come to. Maybe I should have came to it sooner. The paying customer got to flex right now, and I'm serious. Like, maybe they need to get the picket signs too, and start protesting. Go down to Landover, Maryland. Go to the stadium. Go find Daniel Snyder's address. Do whatever you got to do. This guy got to go. He got to go at some point. This is ridiculous.
Now, I tell you what, I'm not mad at the idea. It's just my only thing with the ideal is the NFL like TV rights is so massive that I just wonder, like, because Dan Snyder is Dan Snyder. If he just be like, okay, look, we seen the video last year where the stadium fell apart, like fans falling off the
I forgot about that one. I forgot about it.
Like falling out of the stands, and Jalen Hurts like picking them up like it's part of his job description.
But I guess my point to this about the fans, let's say for some reason the fans got on board and just nobody came to games for 2 weeks, would that make Roger Goodell do something then and take action? to come up with something to take. Because think about how embarrassing that would be if you have a Washington Commander home football game and there's nobody in the stands, and don't even try. What do you say? There's a COVID surge? No, stop. Get that out of here. We're not dealing with that. Like people are just sick and tired of this.
I feel like I agree with you if they protest right in front of the stadium. So instead of going into the game, they're just outside protesting. I think now that could make a – because here's the thing. I'm like, how many people went to Houston Texans games last year? Like, or how many people – like, it's some teams that don't sell that well. The Jacksonville Jaguars, for one. Like, that the stadium is half empty. But because of the TV rights – it's almost like baseball. Like baseball was dealing with the same thing, declining people coming to the game. But that media right is so massive. It's like,
But that would be a step further there. Like when I say don't go to games, don't purchase anything, I wouldn't watch either. I would just cut this team off completely. I wouldn't watch on TV. I wouldn't.
Whoo, dog, yeah, you asking a lot.
I know, and I agree. That is a lot. But like you. What they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. This is desperate times. This is threat level midnight or whatever. This is Benghazi 13 hours.
For those of you who've never seen that movie, you should watch that movie because it's pretty good and it does give you some insight on the State Department. Either way, I agree with you. Something needs to happen. I feel like something really does need to happen with Dan Snyder because Dan Snyder is, like I said, fans falling out the arena. Now you stealing from the same fans that almost broke their back to get, you got the sexual harassment thing going on. For God's sakes, John Gruden lost his job because of the email because his name got pulled up in emails on your investigation. Like,
yeah,
it's like, God, man, this dude, he must be half cat because those lies are just rolling. Like, how many lives do he got? 9. Let's try 32 because, Jared, where you at, baby? Robert Kraft, where you at? Sam Crockett, where you at? Like I agree with you. At some point, clearly the NFL ain't gonna do nothing about this dude. He's just gonna keep breaking rules. And I would say this, Jay. He hasn't been found guilty on anything yet.
Well, that's certainly true. Like, and that was obviously when we talked about the sexual harassment when it first broke. It was like, well, he's not out here. He's not out here doing his Jerry Richardson impression. I got it, but still, he's responsible for this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Frank Vogel, they held him responsible for the Lakers team. When the Commanders or whatever, the Redskins, whoever they was, when they out here firing coaches, they hold them responsible. The commonality when you look back in all 23 of these years, whether it's the Steve Spurrier thing, whether it's Jim Zorn, whether it's Antoine Randall, Adam Archuleta, I think Albert Haynesworth's in there somewhere, just all the free agent shenanigans that they pulled that have just been turned out to be joke moves. It all has one thing in common, and it is Daniel Snyder.
I would say this, and to your point about Frank Vogel, talking about the NBA, if an NBA owner was doing what Dan Snyder was doing, oh yeah, you best believe that ass is out the door. That's new owners en route. That's like the NBA don't tolerate this. Like honestly, I think Adam and I would think Roger Goodell would bring the hammer down more, being what he deals with on the day-to-day. But Adam Silver don't play these games right here. It's not an owner in the NBA that's flopping around like Daniel Snyder and Steve Ross and the cat up there with the Jets that's just out here doing whatever he's doing. And like these owners in the NFL, honestly, if I'm being for real, the owners in the NFL used to hold themselves up to a standard. Now they might not have been the best representative for football, but they at least used to hold themselves up to a standard to where like the other businesses that they're into, they had to keep themselves above reproach because of that. Now it's like, hey, we ain't worried about the other businesses now. We NFL owners. We just gonna get here and act a fool like the players now. And that's what I'm seeing in the NFL. Whereas in the NBA, you don't have that as much. I feel like the NBA owners hold themselves up to a certain stature where this is bull crap. This is bull.
Let me give you, and you'll really think it's you'll really like want to drive that point home further after I throw this in here because I think it's somewhat important. They'll suspend Calvin Ridley for a season for betting, what was it, a couple hundred or a couple $1,000 or whatever.
$1,500 or whatnot.
For what? Impugning the integrity of the game? How is Daniel Snyder not impugning the integrity of the game? Everything he does, every headline he gets is a black eye for the game of football. And for that reason, the only thing that the NFL does is like, well, we'll pass day-to-day activities to his wife. Please stop playing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine that, Drake. Imagine if one of us got, was guilty of some sort of misconduct and we owned a business or whatever. And like, oh, it's fine. Hey, run along. Your wife can run it. Oh, like you're not involved still. Like, it's a joke.
Not the, like, it's okay. Prime example, like you said, let's say we ran a donut shop. There's a donut shop. And, okay, first of all, hey, man, y'all heard about Jay and Drink Donut Shop? Man, sexual harassment, man. The chicks that was working in there, man, they in here, making inappropriate comments and doing inappropriate things. Oh, my God, I can't believe this. Hey, man, do you know the other day I went in there and I opened the door and I fell through the door? Like, I literally fell through the door on my face. And not one person came and helped me up. It was a customer on his way out, and he just kind of scooped me up a little bit, and he kept going with his donuts.
And then, by the way, like, oh, you hear the newest thing? They out here defrauding the customer now?
Oh, yo, so check this out, right? I went and paid for my coffee, and they said they was out of coffee. When I tried to get my money back, they was closed. Like, I don't know. And then they told me, hey, I can get my refund back, but they're going to have to write me a check. But even though I paid in cash, they couldn't give me my money back in cash. They said, the cash register broke. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. And
I wouldn't let Daniel Snyder run a donut shop at this point or a lemonade stand.
But it's just, how do you get away with all this? Listen, if I remember correctly with Jared Richardson, the misconduct was outrageous, but honestly, his case, when you combine everything that Dan Snyder has been accused of, and the fact that you watch a football game and see fans falling out of the doggone stands, and like no one comes to help them, like no one cares. I don't know. I'm like, what in the hell, man? Like,
and even though nothing's been proven yet, like, that don't stop Roger Goodell from like hammering these players from time to time. You don't think Deshaun Watson, there's a punishment waiting for him,
right?
Depending on the outcome of this civil suits,
right?
That's coming at some point.
You're right, man. So look, in a nutshell, people, all we saying is this, and I think we're being pretty reasonable with this. Is look, something gotta happen with Daniel Snyder, and I think to my partner's credit, like he said, once again, we see how protests, kind of ruffle the feathers of people. Maybe that's what got to happen. Y'all got to protest this team. Stop going to the game. Stop watching. I know it's a hard task. Maybe that's the only way to get them out of here. You got to play with their money.
I told y'all last month, send them to Ukraine. Let them lead a humanitarian mission.